You know that unsettling, almost chilling realization you get when someone in your life starts acting, well, just kind of weird around your success, and you realize they aren't actually just having a bad day? What if I told you that sometimes their sudden coldness, their little digs, or that weird distance has absolutely nothing to do with you doing something wrong? In fact, it has everything to do with you doing something right. Today, we're unpacking the psychological reality of secret jealousy. Welcome to This Explainer. So let's dive right into this psychological expose of hidden envy. We're going to explore exactly why your personal wins and your growth can trigger these strange, sometimes even hostile reactions from the people around you. We'll be breaking down 7 secret signs that clearly show someone isn't just annoyed by you, but is deeply, secretly jealous of your progress. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, verbal weapons and the art of the dig. So sign number 1 is what I like to call the "yeah, but" comment. Picture this. You share a big win. Maybe you closed a huge deal at work, and instead of genuine excitement, you get hit with, "Yeah, but wasn't that client desperate?" Or maybe you hit a new personal record at the gym, and they instantly hit you with, "Cool, but I could probably do that if I tried." See, every achievement gets downsized. And make no mistake, this is not constructive criticism. Psychologists actually call this diminishing behavior. Basically, when someone just cannot match your level, their ego tries to shrink your success so the gap between you two doesn't feel quite so huge. That "yeah, but" is never about your accomplishment. It's entirely about their discomfort with it. Now, sign number 2 is the classic backhanded compliment. On the surface, it sounds like praise, right? They'll say something like, "You have such confidence." But the hidden undertone cuts you right down, implying, "I could never be that delusional." Or, they might say, "Wow, you look amazing. Have you been sick or something?" Jealous people use these layered statements because they desperately need to acknowledge what you're doing, but they still want to protect their own superiority. It's kind of a sneaky way to seem nice in public while quietly reminding you that you aren't actually that special. Pay close attention to how you feel after these comments. Real compliments don't leave you feeling smaller. Moving on, section 2, the unspoken competition, shadows and scoreboards. And this brings us to sign number 3. Listen, healthy friends celebrate your growth, but jealous ones, they turn your life into a literal scoreboard. You might mention a brand new hobby you're getting into and suddenly, boom, they're doing it too. But of course, they have to do it better or faster or with way more expensive gear. You talk about a book that really shifted your mindset and they quickly claim they've already read 10 better ones. The truly exhausting part about the whole shebang is that you weren't even competing. You were simply sharing your life, but to them, your progress feels like a direct threat. So absolutely everything becomes a scoreboard they have to win. Sign number 4 reveals a highly hypocritical pattern. It's wild. Step 1 is public dismissal and mockery. Say you start dressing a bit sharper, or you switch up your morning routine. At first, they literally laugh at it. They might even call it a gimmick. But then comes step 2, private imitation. Months later, you notice they're wearing the exact same outfits or quietly adopting pieces of that exact same morning routine. That is classic jealousy. They reject your idea publicly to save face, but they adopt it privately because deep down, they know you're onto something they really wish they had thought of first. Let's dive into section 3, social sabotage and managing the threat. So sign number 5 is what we call social comparison discomfort. You'll notice they become suddenly distant or their energy completely shifts right after you share good news. Everything is totally normal until you mention a promotion or a small victory, and suddenly they are super busy, replies get shorter, the vibe turns ice cold. Why? They're pulling away because your light forces them to face a mirror they desperately want to avoid. It isn't that they hate you, it's that instead of feeling inspired, they just feel the gap. Pulling away is honestly much easier for them than confronting their own inner envy. Which leads us to sign number 6, planting seeds of doubt. When they can't control your rise, they try to manage the narrative behind your back. Now, we aren't talking about huge, dramatic blow-ups here. This is about dropping subtle shade to mutual friends. They'll plant these quiet little seeds of doubt. They might say, "Well, she's ambitious, I guess. Hope it doesn't go to her head." Or they'll attribute all your hard work to, quote, "just timing and luck." They do this to bring your image down to a level that feels emotionally safer for them. The real tell here is consistency. If someone always finds a way to slip in a quiet negative when talking about you, that is not neutrality. That is jealousy at work. And finally, we arrive at sign number 7, the physical tells of envy. You'll see this when they get visibly uncomfortable when other people praise you. Imagine you're in a group setting and someone genuinely compliments your work. Just watch the envious person's body language. They might shift awkwardly in their seat, force this really tight, unnatural smile, maybe interrupt the compliment with a joke, or just quickly pivot the conversation to something else entirely. Jealousy absolutely hates the spotlight being on anyone but themselves. True friends will always try to amplify your wins, but jealous ones, they will frantically reach for the dimmer switch. Let's wrap this up with Section 4, the mirror of insecurity, the deeper truth.
Okay, here is the absolute most important takeaway of this entire explainer. You did not create their insecurity. Recognizing these 7 signs isn't an invitation to become paranoid or start cutting everyone off, not at all. Rather, it simply gives you permission to finally stop questioning yourself when people treat your light like it's a problem. When people act strange around you, sometimes the reason is wonderfully simple. You're growing, you're shining, you are becoming more than they expected or are currently comfortable with. And frankly, that is not your burden to fix.
So keep moving forward and protect your peace. Remember this, you can't shrink yourself small enough to make an envious person feel big. And honestly, you shouldn't have to try. Someone else's jealousy says way more about them than it ever will about you. Let their jealousy remain their issue, not your limitation. So I'm going to leave you with this final question to ponder today. Are you willing to dim your light just to keep them comfortable? Next time you encounter that sudden coldness or a subtle dig, I really hope you remember the signs we covered. Recognize that hidden envy for exactly what it is, protect your energy, and whatever you do, keep shining. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.